Thank you for clicking this video. We will continue solving the programming challenges in the book Starting Out with Java. Yesterday we solved the distance traveled problem, and now we continue to the second part of that challenge, which is yesterday we printed the results to the console, to the screen, and now they are requiring us to print it, the results to the to a file. So the problem reads, modify the program you wrote for program challenge 2, distance traveled, so it writes the report to a file instead of the screen. Open the file in a Notepad or text editor or another text editor to confirm the output. So basically what they require, they want us to do is to calculate the distance a vehicle has traveled and print that result to a file, to a text file. So they said we have to confirm the results using a Notepad, but you can use any other text editor. So if you haven't watched the other program, it was a basic program that asks the user the speed and the hours the vehicle has traveled, and then the program would calculate how many miles the vehicle has traveled. So we will do it again. So first we would create the scanner instance by writing scanner equal new scanner system.in, and then we ask the user enter speed, int speed scanner next int. And if you remember yesterday, the program required for us to ask the user to validate whatever they write. So they wouldn't write negative numbers or 0. So we would say while the speed is less than or equal to 0, we would write error, enter the speed. Speed scanner. So whenever the user enters a negative number or 0, it would come here. The program would come here and show the error. Also, we have to ask the user for the hours. Int hours scanner next int. Also we have to validate it. Hours less than 0, error, enter hours, hours. So as long as the user enters an invalid number, it would ask the correct one. So whenever the user enters speed and hours that is not a negative or a 0, it will come here. So we want to store it in our class that we created yesterday. So the class name was distance traveled new, distance traveled, speed, and hours. So we store the speed and hours in the class, and we want to also print the results to a file. But before that, we have to create a format. We have to make it the results look nicer. Otherwise, it would be jumbled together. It wouldn't look nice to read. So format equal percent dash 20 characters is enough, I think. Spaces between the hours and the speed. Okay, so after that, we create a file writer object. File writer. Then we give a name for the file we want to create. I would call it output txt. So after that, we create a for loop. Int I1 is less than or equal to hours. The I is incremented by 1 each time. So we want to, each time the loop runs, we want to save it, the results, to save it in the text file. But before that, I forgot to add a header. You write fw write string format. We'll say hours, and then distance traveled. Right. So that would be the header for the file. And when we create the header, we want to store the results into the file. So fw write, so string format is string value of I. Then we would say is string value of I times speed. The reason I'm using string value is to avoid a number mismatch error, because the file accepts a string and it expects a string. So, and the for loop produces an int. So if I don't add a string that value of, it would produce an error. So after we store the results to the file, we have to close the file. Otherwise, it would be a memory leak, and it's not that good for your computer. So they ask the speed. So 40 miles, hours is 3. So the program is finished. So let's check our file. Our file is output.txt. There is a problem. it's not. It is not. For some reason, it's not printing correctly. Yeah, it's here. The problem is here. FW write string format, then format, then a string value of I, then a string value of I times speed. So now I think it should be okay. Yeah, now it's working. The first hour is 40, second hour is 80, the third hour is 120. So it works just fine as we expected. So I hope you guys find it useful. And if you have any questions about the problem, or you have any tips for the video, please let me know, and I'll see you next time.